Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. We're continuing on our discussion of the last days, a survival guide. Well, as James says this, be doers of the word, not just hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word, not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in a mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. Wow. And then the concept of prayer, Luke chapter 18 says, 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other tax collector. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus. He said, God, I thank you that I'm not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, even as this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give tithes on all that I possess. And the tax collector, standing afar off, would not so much as raise his eyes to heaven, but he beat his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. So we want humble prayer. 1 Thessalonians says, pray without ceasing. I love that because that's one of my new favorite scriptures. It's that we have a conscious presence of God, that we're always thinking him, that we're always surrounded by him. It's not necessarily that we're actually praying words or praying thoughts, but that we are constantly aware of him. James 5 says, confess your trespasses to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. And then he goes on to say, Elijah was just like you and me. And then he prayed for the drought 3.5 years and it didn't rain. So he's saying, be earnest in your prayer, because Elijah is no different than you. Philippians 4 says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Mark 11 says, have faith in God, for surely I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that these things he says will be done, he will have whatever he says. Wow. Wherefore I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you will have them. Mark 11, 22-24. And finally in Colossians it says, continue earnestly in prayer, being vigilant in it with thanksgiving. Man, that constant coming up with thanksgiving, be thankful, be a thankful person. You say, well, be thankful for my life's going down the tubes. He said, why should I be thankful? You have to be thankful for everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because God has given it to you, and so therefore he feels that you need it, or that you're going to endure through something that's something terrible. But nevertheless, to be thankful, Thanksgiving is a lifestyle. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time.